Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. What started as a dream Hollywood partnership has exploded into accusations of sabotage, manipulation, and a $400 million legal war that could destroy both of their careers. They say Hollywood is all about power, but here's the truth. Power doesn't just corrupt out here. It exposes. It tears off the mask, and suddenly the people you thought you knew are unrecognizable. This isn't some petty feud. This is psychological warfare, where a single move can destroy a reputation overnight. Welcome back to Dark Celebrity Truths, where the red carpet ends and the real Hollywood begins. Act 1, The Beginning. It all started in 2019. Justin Baldoni, the actor turned director known for his advocacy work, reached out to author Colleen Hoover with a vision that felt almost too pure for Hollywood. He wanted to adapt It Ends With Us into something real, not just another love story, but a film that would give survivors of domestic violence a voice, and maybe even inspire change. Baldoni wasn't some opportunistic producer chasing a trend. He had built his brand on authenticity, the sensitive man in an industry full of predators, and when he called Hoover, he painted a picture of a movie that mattered. By May of that year, his studio Wayfarer secured the rights. For the next 5 years, they nurtured what looked like a genuine partnership, teaming up with Sony Pictures and even locking in a clause that 1% of profits would go directly to domestic violence organizations. Not as PR spin, written into the contract. This wasn't just marketing, it was written into contracts, a binding commitment to the cause. Baldoni was building something meaningful, piece by piece. It should have been the beginning of something meaningful. But in Hollywood, good intentions are always the first thing to die when big money and bigger egos show up. Act 2, The Seduction. December 31st, 2022. Enter Blake Lively. On paper, she was perfect casting. Stunning, talented, with the kind of star power that could turn an indie drama into a Hollywood event. Playing Lily Bloom felt like destiny. But Blake didn't just sign on as an actress, she demanded an executive producer credit, a title that carries real weight in this industry. Officially, the studio's deal was simple. Blake would play Lily Bloom, Justin Baldoni would direct, nothing more. But Blake Lively had other plans. Because in Hollywood, contracts are only the opening move. The real battles are fought on set, where every wasted minute costs thousands, and the star's face on the poster gives them power no contract can contain. And Blake? She'd been playing this game a long time. A-list directors, studio politics, high-stakes negotiations. She knew exactly how to bend the system to her will. Baldoni? He never saw it coming. Act 3. The Corruption Begins. May 2023. Pre-production had barely begun, and Blake Lively was already taking control she didn't have. Her first target? The costume department. Blake pushed aside the lead designer, someone with years of experience, someone she'd even worked with before. This wasn't about talent, it was about control. She flooded the team with hundreds of images, dictating every detail. Lily Bloom, the struggling survivor Colleen Hoover had written, suddenly became a woman dripping in luxury. $5,000 shoes, runway-ready outfits, a fashion icon, not a victim. For Justin Baldoni, it was a nightmare. A script he'd spent over a year perfecting, approved by 2 major studios, was being rewritten through clothes to serve Blake's vanity instead of the story's truth. And when it came time for fittings, Blake refused to leave her Tribeca apartment, just 15 minutes from the production office. She demanded the entire wardrobe department deliver everything to her home. Not in the contract, not in the budget, but impossible to refuse. Hoping to contain the damage, Justin and the studio gave in. But giving Blake control of the wardrobe was just the beginning of something much darker. They were catastrophically wrong. Act 4, The Hostile Takeover. When paparazzi snapped photos of Blake in her self-selected costumes, the press called them unflattering. Sony Pictures didn't blame Blake. They blamed Justin Baldoni. They told him straight, her choices were dragging down the film's image. Imagine that. Being held responsible for creative decisions you not only disagreed with, but fought against. When Justin approached Blake's trailer to talk, she had already decided that any criticism was a personal attack. Later, in her complaint, she claimed Justin broke down crying. But Justin remembers it differently. He says Blake praised him after Sony's scolding, praise that left him in tears. Only later would he realize that moment may have been calculated manipulation designed to soften him up. Because in Hollywood, even tears can be weaponized. And the wardrobe battle? That was only the beginning. Blake started rewriting the script on her own, day after day, without approval, without consultation. The shooting schedule collapsed as entire scenes shifted on the fly. And the most disturbing moment of all, Blake's husband, Ryan Reynolds, had secretly rewritten the film's pivotal rooftop scene. The screenwriter didn't even know until the premiere, when Blake casually revealed it. A complete betrayal of trust, and a violation of everything filmmaking is supposed to stand for. Act 5, the intimidation campaign. When Justin asked Blake about her weight for a lift scene, it wasn't personal, it wasn't cruel, it was medical. Years of back injuries, multiple bulging discs, he needed to know what he'd be lifting to avoid serious damage. Reasonable, professional, justified, but Blake twisted it into something else entirely. Fat shaming, and she didn't confront him herself. She sent in her enforcer, Ryan Reynolds. Reynolds arrived like a mob boss, and what followed, Justin would later call the most traumatic encounter of his career. Berated, cornered, accused of things that never happened. Reynolds demanded apologies. Justin refused to confess to lies. The more he resisted, the more aggressive Reynolds became. Witnesses, a veteran producer and a Sony representative, were so shaken they left the room. The producer, with 40 years in Hollywood, said he had never seen anything like it. The Sony rep later admitted she regretted not stepping in. This wasn't a disagreement. This was psychological warfare designed to crush Justin's will. And in the end, it worked. Act 6, the complete surrender. Blake threatened to quit the film unless Justin worked exactly the way she demanded. It was nuclear warfare. Recasting this deep into production would cost millions, maybe even kill the entire project. And Blake knew it. If she walked, she could claim she was driven out by a fat-shaming director, and Justin's career would be over before he could even defend himself. After the industry strikes ended, Justin's team got the email, a 17-point list from Blake's attorney, non-negotiable demands, all based on allegations that had never actually happened, some of them almost laughable. An intimacy coordinator, already hired from day one, Blake just refused to meet with them, claims that Justin and producer Jamie Heath had walked in on her breastfeeding, debunked by her own text showing she had invited Justin while pumping, and Jamie was there at her request. Still, Justin's team signed the list, thinking it was harmless since the behavior never happened. What they didn't realize is that Blake was building a paper trail. Then came post-production. Blake fired the editor, fired the composer, cut her own version of the film at Wayfarer's expense. She denied Justin his standard 10-week director's cut and forced her way into his sessions, a right she didn't even have. When audience tests later proved Justin's cut scored higher, she broke her promise to accept the results and demanded her version be released anyway. She even pushed for PGA certification she hadn't earned. And under threats, the team signed letters of support, letters they later admitted were signed under duress. Finally, Blake made sure Justin was erased, his name stripped from the artwork. And allegedly, Ryan Reynolds using his influence to get Justin dropped by his own talent agency. Piece by piece, Justin Baldoni was being erased from his own film. Act 7, sent to the basement. The final insult came on August 9th, 2024, the film's premiere. Justin Baldoni, the director, was banned from his own movie's debut. If he showed up, Blake and the cast threatened to boycott entirely. Sony scrambled to find a compromise, but what they came up with was nothing short of humiliating. Justin could attend, but only under strict conditions. A separate theater, a different arrival time, and he had to leave the moment Blake arrived. When the night came, Justin, the man who had built this film from the ground up, was sent to the basement with his family and friends, hidden away like a dirty secret for over an hour. Later, he admitted, "I was sent to the basement with my whole team, all my friends and family. She didn't want me anywhere near her or the rest of the cast." And when the after party began, Justin wasn't allowed inside. Despite his company footing the bill, he was locked out, forced to hold his own emergency celebration in exile. Act 8, the war escalates. The basement was supposed to be the final humiliation, but Justin Baldoni didn't disappear. He hired a crisis manager, which Blake's team immediately painted as a smear campaign. Then, in December 2024, Blake struck first, a lawsuit accusing Baldoni of sexual harassment and retaliation. He denied everything and fired back with a $400 million countersuit. By September 2025, Justin made his boldest move yet, hiring powerhouse attorney Alexandra Shapiro, a former federal prosecutor who defended Sean Diddy Combs, and FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried. When you hire Diddy's lawyer, you're not playing games anymore. Blake's team hit back fast, filing motions for sanctions against Baldoni's attorney. The message was clear. This wasn't just a fight anymore. This was total war. Today, lawsuits fly like missiles. Reputations hang in the balance. To the public, it's all Instagram posts and red carpet smiles. But behind closed doors, it's psychological warfare. Blake Lively, the girl next door, the feminist icon. Justin Baldoni, the sensitive advocate, the man who wanted to give survivors a voice. But when the camera stopped rolling, a darker story came into focus. The champion of women's rights, accused of manipulating and dismantling a man's career. The advocate for survivors, painted as an abuser of power. In Hollywood's House of Mirrors, nothing is what it seems. The most dangerous predators wear the most beautiful masks, and the most devastating weapons aren't scandals, but the systematic destruction of anyone who dares to resist. The chilling part isn't just the sabotage, it's how easily Blake Lively shifted the narrative, from aggressor to victim, and how quickly Hollywood believed her. But this story is far from over. With federal-level legal firepower, sanctions already in play, and $400 million at stake, what we've seen so far is only the opening act of Hollywood's most explosive legal war in years. The depositions haven't even begun. The evidence hasn't all been revealed, and the darkest secrets still sit buried under NDAAS and legal maneuvering. What else will surface? Which powerful names could be dragged into the spotlight? How many careers has the Reynolds Lively machine crushed behind the scenes? And just how far will both sides go to destroy each other? The answers lie in testimonies yet to be given, in evidence yet to see daylight. One thing is certain, when this war finally ends, Hollywood will never look the same, because in the end, fame hides everything, until it doesn't.